You know what's a sure thing? Problems. They're everywhere. If you expect life to treat you well because you're a nice person, that would be like expecting an angry bull to not charge because you're a vegetarian. Doesn't work that way, does it? We all have problems, and the quarantine probably is the biggest one facing all of us now. Let me give you my version, because I went through this before. Didn't call it a quarantine. Ugh, sure felt like it. I was 9 years old when World War II began. December the 7th, 1941, the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor. That was Sunday. Monday, I went to school just like usual, 9 o'clock. At 10 o'clock, they sent us all home. I thought that was the neatest thing. Little did I know. Well, for the next 4 years, we worked under really strict supervision. For instance, no lights at night. None. We had air raid wardens patrolling the streets, looking at every house and every window to try to catch a glimpse of light. Couldn't have it. To listen to the radio, we had to hang a newspaper down over the dial because the dial emitted light, and that could be seen. And it was rationing. Whoa, gas was rationed. Couldn't go very far anyway. And they have these coupons a little bit. You could buy a little bit of gas. That was all. Tires, shoes. Hey, sugar was rationed, and butter, chocolate, all gone to the war effort. Man, that was a hard time for me. We lived in great fear, not of a bug. We were afraid of a bomb, because we saw pictures in magazines and newsreels of the devastation in Europe and Asia. It was a scary time, and the government clamped down on everything. But you know, if all of life, I've said this before, I need to say it again. If all of life were peaches and cream, we would still have to worry about pits and cholesterol. So nothing is going to be all right, nor is it all bad. I have a list here. I want to go read this because I want to get everything. But it's important. In 1807, it was a bad year for America. Our new republic was teetering on the brink of another war. British were shooting at us economically. There was a depression, prices going out of reach. A former candidate for president and a member of the Senate was being tried for treason. That's a bad year for America, but a good year for babies. Nancy's husband was an illiterate wandering laborer, but in a small cabin in Kentucky, Nancy walked through the valley of the shadow and brought forth a son and named him Abraham Lincoln. And Wadsworth, America's great poet, was also born that year. So, not a bad year when you look at the babies. 1864 was even worse year for America. Sherman was looting and burning American cities. Grant and Lee, old comrades in arms, were using cruel weapons in Virginia to marry a slave girl. She must have thought the whole world was on fire. Had she known that 6 weeks after she gave birth to her baby, she and the baby would be kidnapped by night marauders. We never saw or heard from Mary again. But it wouldn't have changed anything. She'd have had her baby anyway in Diamond Grove, Missouri. That kind of world needed a George Washington Carver. We were at war with Mexico when tiny Tom Edison arrived in Ohio. And on the day that he invented the electric light, that day out in Indian Territory, 2 worried half-breed Cherokee Indians gave birth to a boy whose name was Will Rogers. We were at war again when Edith gave birth to Charles in 1898. That's when our battleship Maine blew up and the Spanish-American War with it. But it's a good year for the birth of someone who would one day be a healer and found the Mayo Clinic. So it's hard to be sure about bad years because babies can turn our heads to better futures. Best things happen at the worst times. I have learned this. If you focus on the past, you will tend to be moody. If you focus on the present, we all tend to be critical. But if we can focus on the future, we tend to be positive, caring, and encouraging. So, till next time, one day closer.